All right, guys. Hello and welcome to another edition of Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Russo. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. If you like the video when it's done, please hit the like button. Thank all of you. Special thanks to all of you who subscribed yesterday. I think there's like 7 people at one time. I really appreciate it. As you can tell, my voice, I'm still sick. Matter of fact, right before I came out, I started getting the sweats a little bit. I was actually trying to dig up some paperwork about the story I was going to do. And here's what I'm getting ready to do. Over the course of the next week or more, I don't know, I'm just going to play it by ear. I'm going to do the Mob Chronicles. During my stay in federal prison, I met plenty of guys that were in the 5 families or other famous mob families. And I was close, especially close to one of them. That was Carmine Persico. Carmine was like a dad to me. There's a lot of media reports that have been written about my relationship with Carmine, especially out of the New York media conglomerate. He's dead now. I was sad when I heard he died, but anyway, this isn't about Carmine. But what I'm gonna do, like I said, is I'm gonna go ahead, because I've had so many relationships with guys that were members of the mob, and because the mob still is very much a part of American history, there's a lot of infatuation surrounding these guys. Me being from the West Coast, the mob wasn't a big deal to me, not whatsoever. Not trying to diss any of them or anything like that. I just really didn't care. I was into surfing. As a criminal or drug criminal, I guess I watched Scarface like a lot of people, but I didn't really. Pablo wasn't my thing. I just was doing me. So the mob wasn't my thing. However, like I said, I realized that there's a lot of people that are really infatuated or really want to know a lot about mob guys in prison. And I know, and I've become friends, really close friends with some of them. So this is going to be called the Mob Chronicles. I'm going to start the first one out, and I'm not going to do them in chronological order. That's what I thought I was going to do, but I'm not. Like I said, please excuse my voice. I am still sick, so I'm going to get through this. I'm going to start this off with Jojo Russo. Joseph Jojo Russo was the nephew of Carmine Persico, aka Junior, aka the Snake, the boss of the Colombo crime family, and also the son of Andrew the Fat Man Russo, which was Carmine's cousin, close partner. He was also an acting boss for a while. That is Andrew. Okay, so in 2003, me and other members of the Dirty White Boy prison gang were sent to Lewisburg for gang-related reasons. I went over that in a different video. We got into it with the Aryan Resistance movement, the arms, and we had separations, the 2 gangs. Some of us ended up at Lewisburg. Okay, my last name is Rosso, R-O-S-S-O. So I was housed in F block. F block in Lewisburg was the smallest block at the time, I think still is, and there was like 4, maybe 5 whites and a couple of Italians. One day I was downstairs, still trying to get the feel of it. I'm sorry, also 80% DC blacks. So it was predominantly black block. There wasn't, I think there was like 84, 90 people. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. But there was like 4 or 5 whites when I first moved into it. So, and counting a couple of Italians downstairs, not counting the couple of Italians downstairs. Then there were some Puerto Rican guys from New York and a few other black guys from different areas, but most of the guys were from DC. Okay, so I'm downstairs in F block one day, just getting off the phone, and here comes a guy. Good looking guy in his 50s, slick back hair, meaning good looking, sharp dressed, in prison, in his prison uniform, sharp meaning his clothes were pressed. He was dressed nice, he had his hair slicked back. And he come up and he was real nice and he said, my name's Jojo. You are? And he says, I heard your last name's Russo. And I said, no, my last name's Rosso. And he said that his last name was Russo. Then he gave me a little lesson and said that Russo and Rosso both mean red in Italian. And that day, I didn't know that Jojo was the Capo or a Capo of the Colombo family. Nor did I really care, to be honest, at the time. But Through JoJo, I met Joe Monte. Joe Monte was in his 70s, a soldier for that family. I'll get into that later. He did a lot of work, personal assistant of JoJo's, I guess is a nice way to say it. So JoJo and I developed a relationship over some time. Now JoJo used to have little parties on the holidays, and what I mean by that is he'd have Joe Monte cook. They'd cook a big spread. They'd have a bunch of zuzus and wham whams. They'd lay it out in their cell, and I was invited. I was also invited to spaghetti dinners with them. You guys in the feds that know Italian guys know that they cook spaghetti for sure on Sunday, but sometimes Thursdays and Sundays. And if you're invited, that means that they like you. And I had the special invite for a long time with JoJo. And I went, and Joe Monte cooked a really good spaghetti sauce. In fact, Joe Monte taught me, well, I should say just Joe Monte. I was gonna say Joe Monte taught me how to cook spaghetti sauce. That's not necessarily true. Actually, it wasn't one of my close friends, Tommy Reynolds. Tommy Reynolds would be another story. You guys can look him up later if you want. Bath Avenue boys, friend of, or a co-defendant of Chris Pacello. Okay, so JoJo came to me one day when he realized that I had a leadership position in the DWBs, the Dirty White Boys. He came to me and he wanted to form a partnership. And the partnership was that he would finance me on anything we wanted to do. And I mean anything. I'm not gonna say, that I know a lot of people say that mob families don't like anything to do with drugs. Nor did JoJo ever talk about drugs, let's get that straight, but he would have financed me with anything I wanted to do. Basically, he really wanted to start a ticket and use the Dirty White Boys as runners. Gambling's a big thing in prison. We're talking during the football season, $40,000 you can make easy. It's big money. That's not even trying all that hard. And JoJo had quite a bit of money. I declined the offer. So let me tell you that the Dirty White Boys were the first white prison gang to be sent to Lewisburg in the 2000s. In 1997, there was an issue with the ABs and some Dirty White Boys and other white guys with the DC Blacks. And after those murders, there was a series of murders that took place. After those murders, they didn't allow any white gang members, or they had gang members, but any, with numbers, so 2 or more. So that way there could be no white gang presence. The Dirty White Boys were the first, and we got there at the end of 2002, but didn't go on to the main line in Lewisburg until 2003. That's a long story, but anyway, so JoJo, so what he saw was, he let the compound fill us out. A lot of guys from Boston, 50 or so mob guys were there, so nobody knew how they were gonna take, 5 gang members with the bad reputations, coming into the system. Especially the DWBs, we had a bad rep. I've been into that in a few different videos, and I'll probably be into that more. But so we didn't know, but they all took to us really well. We got our table set up in no time, and we got our own table in the chow hall. Everything fell into place. So JoJo cracks on me, offers me, whatever. He just wanted to make some money. He wanted to be in the mix, and he wanted the backing of a prison gang. Now, I've known other guys that weren't gang members. There was a guy from Carl from California that really kind of was the shot caller for the Dirty White Boys, and he wasn't even a gang member. What he had was a lot of money, and he was smart, and him and 2 of the DWBs in Leavenworth were close. So Carl basically had a gang at his beck and call to do whatever he wanted. JoJo was kind of offering the same proposition. Now, I turned it down. I had my own reasons. I was trying to do some things to clean up our reputation. It's hard to clean up a reputation called the Dirty White Boys, but I was trying not to. I was not taking any hits, contract hits, no prostitution. I was trying to portray the image of a kinder, gentler, softer prison gang. I don't know if softer is the right word, but hey, you know what I'm saying. So JoJo then went and got a guy named Big Nick, and his sidekick Adam, and another guy named Red. big boys out of New York, serious guys out of New York, and they became JoJo's guys. They were JoJo's everything. JoJo took care of them financially, and they did what JoJo wanted, and everything worked out really good. Meanwhile, through the years, me and JoJo remained friends. The first out, we had a couple falling outs. The first one was over one of my cellies. I'll just say his name's Billy. I won't put his last name out there right now, even though he watches this. So my cellie, I was moving him into the block, and JoJo didn't want me to because this guy had called JoJo the gay gangster. JoJo, he was a mild-mannered person, and there was some jokes that he was gay. He was not. I'm just saying, there was a few people that used to talk shit, and he didn't want Billy into the block for that reason. But I wanted Billy into the cell for my own reasons, and JoJo disinvited me to Sunday meals because of that reason for a while. Hey, no big deal. That didn't last too long. When I was back in the Sugu car. Sugu means spaghetti sauce. Anyway, so we got in good grace. Then he had a falling out, JoJo, with one of my other close friends, who is Tommy Reynolds. That's a whole crazy different issue. But because of my relationship with Tommy, and me and Tommy are like that, today I love him like a bro, me and JoJo kind of were at odds. Okay, so I was at Lewisburg from 2003 until January of 2007. On Christmas of 2006, JoJo had a block party, and he invited me, and I went down there, and I was able to eat. They had a bunch of, at the time, by the way, I wasn't in this block anymore, so I had to sneak in this block. So I snuck in an F block, or got permission, whatever the case was, and ate and had a good time. And something happened that changed our relationship, and that is, he talked really bad to Joe Monty in front of me, in front of a bunch of people, and they had a long history. From what I understand, Joe Monty was a bad gambler on the street, and many times he almost got whacked by his own people, and JoJo bailed him out. That's the story I was told, not only by JoJo, but by others. But I felt I didn't, first of all, for the years that I knew them, I didn't like the way that Joe Monty was kind of like JoJo's manservant. But that's kind of none of my business, right? That's like their mob thing and their family thing, and that really had nothing to do with me. But I didn't like it. I was a little buzzed, I was a little high, and I was getting transferred at the time. And also what happened to me that day was my guys, the Dirty White Boys, had a meeting on the yard, and they threw a coup on me, meaning they made it official that I wasn't running shit anymore, and they handed the keys to another one of my bros. I was leaving, but I was also erratic, and that was a little different. That's a different issue. So the point is, I was acting erratic, and I had my own personal problems, and I was. And I took JoJo to the side, and I confronted him, and I said, don't ever do that in front of me again. JoJo said something back, and I was a little bit more aggressive, not hands-on, a little bit more aggressive, and kind of said some things to him that shook him, and that was the last time we talked. On the morning that I found out I was getting transferred, I ran around I did a shot of dope first. He told me to head downstairs, and I said, yeah, I'll go in a minute. I got high, and then I ran around the prison, said goodbye to my friends. And JoJo was right next to one of the guys that I said goodbye to, and because of the words we had, the things I said to him, he didn't say goodbye, and I tried to, but he didn't. Okay. I was then sent to Federal Medical Center, FMC, Butner, in North Carolina, because of my bladder cancer. Some months went by, and I was hanging out at the FMC with all the mob guys. That is, Greg DePalma from the Gambinos. You had Matty the Horse. I don't even know what Matty was. Was he a Genovese, or was he it was Genovese, I think. I'm sorry. Matty the Horse, Philly Black, Tommy Karate, Tommy Patera, Fat Sal, Fat Scalia, who was involved in the hit on Paul. P.S. his gun jammed. So I know that story, but I won't go there today. Anyway, so I frequently, well, every day I was with these guys. I ate every meal with these guys in the hospital. So there came a day in July of 2007 when we were all eating spaghetti. Now, I was younger than most of these guys too. I was still in my 30s. So I kind of did the little do-boy thing, meaning that I made a lot of the spaghetti sauce or did a lot of the errands and stuff like that. Really for Greg DePalma, he was in a wheelchair, but that was kind of like my dude. There's a lot of shit behind Greg. He's dead now. But I liked Greg, and he gave me all his pills. He knew I was strung out, and he gave me all his Percocets and morphine. So I had a relationship with him. But yeah, so I did a lot of stuff for Greg, not the other guys, but for Greg specifically. So, excuse me, my nose is running out too. So we're all eating. I'm sitting, and from behind me, there's Greg was here, and I remember Matty the horse was here, and Sal was here, Philly Black was here, Tommy Crotty was right over here next to me, and up comes from behind me, I hear this female voice, and she says, "Hey, Mr. D." She's talking to Greg DePalma. "Hey, Mr. D, do you know a guy named Jojo Russo?" I'm eating, and I'm higher than a kite, by the way. I'm eating, and Greg, "Yo, do I know Jojo? Of course I know Jojo. I know Jojo." And I stopped, and I thought, Jojo Russo. So she says he's upstairs. Now, we're on the 4th floor. The hospital has the ground floor, the 2nd floor, the 3rd floor, which is guys that come in for surgeries, the 4th floor, which are cancer patients predominantly, and the 5th floor, which you go to die. Some guys make it out of there. There are some orderlies up there, but pretty much if you go on the 5th floor, you go to die. If you come in and go on the 5th floor, you're in bad shape. Well, Jojo Russo was on the 5th floor. So Greg said, "Of course I know Jojo." And the nurse said, I still hadn't turned around, "Jojo just came in, he's on the 5th floor and wants to see you." I turned around, and when I did, it was kind of like angels singing, "Whoa," because there was a nurse behind me, and she was really, really pretty. A little heavy set for me. I've always been into skinny girls, but nevertheless, she was a real pretty girl. So I said, "Jojo Russo, you mean Jojo Russo from Lewisburg?" She's like, "Hey, yeah, you know him?" And I said, "Yeah." Now, at that moment, I wasn't thinking about everything that Jojo and I went through. So she says, "Hey, you come on with me." So Tommy Karate grabbed Greg DePalma and went up the inmate elevator. The nurse brings me around the staff elevator, and when we got in the elevator, and it's just me and her in the elevator, all those smells hit me. Boom, all those girly smells. The perfume, the shampoo, the nail polish, just female scent. And I was like, wow, I was rocked. When the door opened and she brought me into Jojo's room, I couldn't believe what I saw. What I saw was a man that that looked nothing like the healthy person that I saw. I should point out, Jojo worked out every day, really cut up. He was 54 years old and in fantastic shape. And I mean fantastic. Pull-ups, weights, I mean, he was ripped. He was ripped, in really good shape. And here's a guy that you can tell is on his deathbed, literally. So it stopped when he saw me. He said, "Robert," and he started crying. And immediately I went up to him, and he says, I gave him a hug, and he says, I'm dying. And I go, "What do you mean you're dying?" He said, "I got kidney cancer." About that time, here comes Tommy Karate pushing Greg. They start talking. And, Jojo was looking at me most of the time. And what I can tell, what he wanted was help. And he wanted me to help him. He saw a familiar face. Despite what we went through and what I had said to him, he still knew the person that I was. And I think what he saw was that somebody that he knew in his heart would help him in his final days. Now, the inmates on the 5th floor have what's called an ICP, an inmate companion program. Those are usually the orderlies. I had a life sentence and I was there for cancer. And by the way, I wasn't even supposed to be out in general population. They wanted to lock me down because of my gang affiliation, because of my status in the gang. it was hell just being in general population at the hospital. So JoJo asked me before I left if we can come back, excuse me, if I can come back tomorrow and help him. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to come back up. I was only there because this nurse allowed me. And I said, JoJo, honestly, there's no way I can. And the nurse said, what do you mean you can't? And I said, ma'am, they're not going to let me come back up. Or she says, look, do you want to be up here? I said, yes, I'd come up here and help him. She says, I'll get you up here. And I said, you don't have it like that. And she said, I got it like that. It was a little flirty comment. So, and Greg and Tommy and JoJo, everybody kind of realized it. Okay, next day comes around. I try to go upstairs in the morning, I'm blocked. Boom, Russo, get out of, don't ever come back to the 5th floor, blah, blah, blah. So that evening, I was waiting, it was a pill call. And what I was doing is I had bought cigarettes from a garden and I was trading cigarettes for pills. So I'd stand in pill line and buy all these pills from these dying guys. I know that sounds bad, but it's the honest to God truth. That's what happened. So I was collecting my pills, Percocets, morphine, fentanyl. And all of a sudden I hear somebody say, hey, Russo. And it's that broad, it's that girl, sorry I didn't say broad. I turned around and she's waving a piece of paper. She said, I told you I got it like that. All these guys I was with are like, what the, immediately everybody's talking, oh, what's going on between this guy and this nurse? Okay, so sure enough, I went back up there that night and I started helping. And what I mean by helping is I'd clean his room. I helped bathe him. I helped shower him. I would pushing him down to the cafeteria and I would push him to the yard on the several occasions that he wanted to go. JoJo also, I would also push him down to the 4th floor 2 or 3 times so he can go eat spaghetti with the guys downstairs. There, like I said, there was a pretty big mob presence of some pretty popular guys. And for a little while, he was able to do it. And a little while, I mean, a week. I was going up there every morning as soon as the doors racked from 6 until they kicked me out. And I think that was at the 9 o'clock count. And the truth is that I had a thing for this nurse and she was working overtime. And there was a lot of people that thought we had a relationship. I will say that I was fond of her, and me going up, I was using helping JoJo as an excuse to be around her. That was totally true. At the same time, it was really fucked up seeing somebody that even the circumstances in which he and I parted ways and on bad terms, to see somebody every day just getting worse and worse. And I mean, I'm talking death wasn't just knocking, death was storming, that death was coming fast. He lost control of his bowels and I started changing his diapers. And it's pretty humbling. I know maybe if I wasn't so loaded, and I'm telling you that I was really fucked up on prescription pills, maybe I couldn't have done it, okay? I don't know. I don't want to pat on the back. Maybe somebody is saying, ew, how can you wipe another man's ass? I don't know. I don't know how I can. I know my dad right now is messed up, not too far away from me. I can do that with my dad. How do I do that? I don't know. Maybe it was the pills. Maybe it was because I just wanted to be around the broad. But he wouldn't let anybody catheterize him but me when they had to change his catheter. He wouldn't let nobody change his diaper. And it got to the point where he couldn't be showered anymore, but I showered him. It really bothered me to see somebody going like this, especially I didn't know what his family knew. Now, I knew who his family was. When his mail came, he got a lot of letters. I was also reading his mail to him. There's a lot of personal letters that he got from his ex-wife that was beautiful, by the way. There was an ongoing mob war between one fraction of the Colombos and another. The Gallo Wars, and somebody that was on the other side of that war, won't even say to this day, wrote JoJo a letter that was, JoJo just broke down and cried. He really, it was a really touching thing. And, it made me feel really good to be able to do this. I remember calling my mom at night and saying, I got to get a hold of his family. So does his family even know? Because I really didn't know what the family knew or they were being told. I honestly had no idea if they realized that this guy was like, gone. Well, I come to find out that they did, and that they were getting good information from the hospital, but I didn't know that for a while. So they started getting visits first the visits were downstairs, and it got to be too much for them. So we set it up to where we got visits in the hospital room. That is his brother, his nephews. I don't remember if his son at the time, I don't remember exactly who, but what I would do is I'd set up the room. I'd get little nutty bars, all the stuff that we can get on commissary. I'd make little trays for them, and I'd hook them up, because it was tough enough for them guys to come see, the situation their loved one's in, and knowing that he can't even be there on his death, when he's going to die. Oh, by the way, he filed for compassionate release. They won't let him out, but a federal judge was trying to let him out. He was that fucked up, and he really should have been. He was no threat to anybody. They should have let him out. He had multiple life sentences, yes. It's sad also because that case, they had crooked cops in that case, and they might have got some action. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Anyway, the reason right before I came in here and I was pouring sweat the most is because I was digging through my paperwork because I was trying to find the exact date that JoJo died. Then I tried to find out. Suri wouldn't tell me the date, and I was trying to Google it. But JoJo Russo, from the day he got to the FMC to the day that he died, was 17 days in all. In those 17 days, a lot happened in my life. Like I said, there was a situation with the nurse. By the way, I ended up getting kicked out of Butner Hospital because staff felt that I was having an inappropriate relationship with that person. Never got in trouble, nor did she, but that's what they felt. So what happened was, as we did on the weekends, we would go up there, me and Greg DePalma, Tommy, karate. That was the three of us on this particular day. I'm almost positive it was a Sunday too. That's why I was looking for the date. We go up there and I go get all his visitation stuff ready for him. Got him dressed, got him hooked up, changed him, hooked up the room for the family. And he looked good that day. He looked more clear. What was happening to him a lot was called sundown. In the morning, he was really good, and by the evening, he was gone. So he thought Osama bin Laden was in our room one day, and he thought that he used to call the nurse my girlfriend, and he said that Osama bin Laden's gonna take your girlfriend. So there was a lot of stuff. He was hallucinating a lot. They did offer him more treatment, but he was at least sane enough to know that nothing was gonna help, and he was at peace with dying. So the morning that he passed, me, Greg, and Tommy went up there. We sat with them, got him ready for visit, and we went downstairs, and it was count time. So on the weekends, there's a 10 o'clock count. And during that count time, JoJo died. And I remember the nurse, actually a couple of nurses came to me and they said, hey, we want to talk to you. JoJo just died. And I want to tell you, it really, really fucked me up. And I'm going to go ahead and say, when you're on opiates, and I was on a lot, I was on lethal amounts, by the way. 36 Percocet 10s in the morning, 180 milligrams in the afternoon of morphine, and a used fentanyl patch, 100 milligrams in the evening. That's how much drugs I was on. Some people say that's impossible. That's what I was doing. That's what I was on. So I was really messed up. I was really emotional, though. I will say that. Yeah, to know that a guy 54 years old that you just saw was in the best of shape. It was crazy. So 17 days. It was 17 days from the time that JoJo Russo arrived at the Butner FMC to the day he died. I had sent his family a letter making sure that they got the money that was on his books. Never heard back from them. I thought they all knew. They knew who I was. They knew I was taking care of them. I thought that they would get back to me. Maybe they thought that I was trying to look for money or something, or I don't know, but I never was. However, what I did not know was that over at Butner 1, there was an old man that was keeping tabs on me. And that old man was JoJo's uncle, Carmine the Snake Persico. and he was keeping notes about everything I was doing, and I would be rewarded greatly for that. And I was totally unaware of it. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Tomorrow, I think I'll get in to Carmine the Snake Persico, AKA Junior, AKA the last real mob boss. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.